I'm here to introduce our speakers today, Kazuhito Kidachi and Katsutoshi Tsuji from Mitsue-Links in Japan. And they're going to give us a presentation on web accessibility in Japan.
Okay, thank you for coming. The title of presentation is Implement of Web Accessibility, what a Japanese web production company can do. So let's get started. Let me introduce ourselves first. My name is Kazuhito Kidachi. I'm a corporate director of Mitsue-Links and general manager of development and research department of Mitsue-Links. And on my left, he's still working with his PC, but he is an accessibility engineer of the same department. And he's blind since his birth, so he's an expert of assistive technology. So today's talk is a shortened version of our presentation at CSUN conference this year. And it's not so technical, actually, but it's a talk about how we have done about web accessibility and what we will do in future about web accessibility. So here's today's agenda. Now we are in the introduction. And next, I will introduce some services related to web accessibility provided by our company. And after that, Katsutoshi will explain some really interesting situation about current state of Japanese voice output softwares like voice browser or screen reader. And we will talk about some accessibility-related activities later. And we have a short summary. So let me introduce our company, which I'm working for, Mitsue-Links. The company founded in 1990, so 18 years ago. And we call ourselves as an information integrator. And we work hard for a client's sustainable business from viewpoint of accessibility and website construction in general. And now we have about 270 employees, so we are actually one of the largest companies in the web design or web development field in Japan. And one of the aspects of the company is we obtained ISO 9001 and ISO 14001 and some other management systems. We use these tools as to improve our output and workflows. And if you are interested in the company more, you can get some information at our English websites. And here, I'd like to explain our way of thinking about web accessibility. We define the web accessibility is a condition in which all users can access or use information and functions on the website without any dependency on any specific viewing environment. And it's important. It's not only support for disabled and elderly people, and also it's important to for software or machines can access to the contents. Now we are in the Web 2.0 era, so it's really important to support for such softwares like Machine App. And in general, we think to improving or maintaining web accessibility is to maximize the potential possibilities of a website in consideration the special characteristics of the web as a media. And now we move on to some services provided by Mitsue-Links. There are several services in the web accessibility solution. Our clients have defined time and cost requirements for web accessibility, but we have several services, and we can meet the requirements anyway. We have web accessibility evaluation service first. In this service, we have screen reader testing. We will mention about this later. And we have web construction accessibility support service. In this service, we have 3 levels, right, standard, and professional. And we have web operational accessibility support service. This is support for actually running website after the launch. And we have web accessibility consulting. In this service, we provide or develop accessibility guidelines with clients. So I'm gonna talk about 2 services here. One is screen reader testing. There are 2 objectives. One is to improve awareness of web accessibility of the client's company. And second one is to raise to make easier to understand web accessibility related problems. So here is the flow of the service. It's quite similar to a kind of user testing. First, we define the task for a website. And next, our accessibility engineer execute a task and record the actual audio output from screen reader or voice browser. And lastly, we produce a report containing accessibility issues with actual recorded output. We think it's really important, the voice output, because it has a power to facilitate the understanding of the accessibility issue. So that's the reason why we started this service. And next, I'd like to mention Web Construction Accessibility Support Service. As I explained before, there are 3 levels from light to professional. Of course, as you imagined, professional one is the most expensive one. But the important thing here is we can adjust the client's requirement, and still we can find something to help the client's business from viewpoint of web accessibility. Because some clients don't have enough or large budget to improve web accessibility, but almost every case there is something to improve it. So we can do that with this flexibility. And maybe many of you already know it's to improve the web accessibility. The important thing is to consider the blind internet users who uses voice browser or screen reader. And in English-speaking world or countries or areas, there are really good software like JAWS and Windows Eyes. But you might not know the current state of the situation about such a software in Japan. So from now on, Katsutoshi will talk about the topics. So Katsutoshi?
Yep. Well, thank you, Kazuhito. I will talk about current conditions and issue with Japanese screen voice reading environment. There are 8 kinds of commercial screen readers and 3 kinds of voice browsers in Japan. These software have wide price range. The cheapest is Toka, and JAWS is most expensive. There is a large difference in functionality, which depends on the price. Okay, next slide.
Yes.
Here is a list of voice reading environments with price, user share, developer information, and features. For screen readers, PC Talker has 68% of user share, and according to developers, they currently have over 20,000 users. For voice browsers, Homepage Reader is also famous in Japan and has many users. This software is used not only visually impaired users, but by web developers as well. I will move to the next slide. Let's talk about the availability of commands for web viewing. Some screen readers support web viewing commands, but most of them has only basic features, such as reading lines with arrow keys and reading links with tab keys. So they are not powerful enough to navigate website. Besides JAWS, Focus Dock, which is one of brand new screen reader in Japan, has web viewing commands such as heading jump quick keys, and the price isn't even that expensive. Of course, every voice browser has web reading commands. Okay, next slide.
Okay.
I will talk about problems when handling web content with Japanese screen readers. In this slide, I will talk about 3 things. As I told you in last slide, most screen readers cannot assess the document structures of headings or lists. Also, operational methods aren't uniformed. For example, with JAWS or Windows Eyes, they use the same keystrokes to jump headings or lists. But with Japanese screen readers, if I want to use a new screen reader, I have to learn new key commands for new screen reader. So it makes hard for users to switch from old screen readers to new one. The last problem is that it is hard to assess the contents of large data tables. Most Japanese screen readers doesn't support the table reading features. They can read tables in the HTML source order, but can't read tables by columns. Oh, I'm sorry, Kazuhito. I couldn't start my computer. I will move.
Okay. So skip the demonstration.
Yep, I'm sorry. And I will move to next slide.
Yes.
Okay. I will talk about lack of user skills. I will talk about, in this slide, I will talk about 3 more things. Users can only use basic commands, such as arrow keys and tab keys during web viewing, because most of Japanese screen readers only support these basic commands. They are not aware of and don't commonly use information such as headings or lists. If their screen readers provides information such as this document structure, they usually don't notice it because older websites didn't contain the information about document structure, like headings or lists. They don't understand the benefit of document structure also. Some users operate based on their past experience of website. For example, they believe that contact information will probably at the bottom of a website, web page. Sometimes this method works, but sometimes it doesn't. They think that this is the only way to access web page. And if a new feature is implemented into a screen reader, they can't use it because they trust their first experience. Finally, I'd like to say that Japanese screen readers should have more web viewing features. And we also need learning opportunities so that users know more about their screen readers. Thank you.
So as Katsutoshi explained, some users still don't know much about the softwares they are using about screen readers or voice browsers. And this means that they might not know much about web contents are becoming much better, I mean, more accessible than ever, more than in the past, with many standards-based developers and designers. And that's why we have started some activities to raise more awareness about web accessibility. We recognize that the importance of web accessibility has not yet been sufficiently spread and educated to everybody yet. So the first thing to introduce is our accessibility blog. This is, of course, about accessibility blog about accessibility. It's only available in Japanese, but the URL is over there. And it started in August 2005, and currently we have about more than 2,800 visits and more than 50,000 page views per month. So we believe that this is a kind of a popular blog anyway. And next thing is about accessibility podcast. This is a joint project by Mitsue-Links and Infrastructure, which is a very successful accessibility-related company in Japan, and its CEO, Ueki-san, is right here. It's also only available in Japanese. I'm so sorry about that. But we provided 12 episodes so far since September 2007. And one aspect of this podcast is we provide complete transcript for every episode, so it's quite accessible. There are two main contents. One is accessibility headlines, which contains foreign and domestic topics about web accessibility. And the second one is assistive technology tips. It's for information for website producers, content providers, and also assistive technology users. As Katsutoshi pointed out, some users don't know much about their softwares. So we hope we can provide some useful tips for actual users anyway. As to say about future plans, we're going to have another 6 months to continue this podcast, and we will have some related events to this podcast. And third thing is videocasting, featuring Sean Harry. Videocasting is studied by our motion picture team as kind of promotion tool. It has English version of the content, so if you are interested in, you can access to this URL. And there is a series of contents titled Meet the Professionals. In this series, I interviewed some really active people who are in the web industry. And each 6 episodes, I interviewed to the Sean Henry from the WCC at the CSUN 2007. It's just 1 year ago. And we provided the transcript, and its content is a kind of interesting thing, so you can access to the contents. And fourth thing is, and last thing is screen reader explanatory video. It's not started from our original idea. We are inspired by Victor Tsaran, who is an engineer at Yahoo. He made a really nice video introducing screen reader titled Introduction to Screen Reader. And we also felt that the necessity to provide such information to introduce screen reader, what a screen reader is, and what can be done with this software, this kind of software. So we will have 5 episodes of contents, video contents. And here's the target listeners, including content providers and CSR representatives who are in charge of corporate social responsibility. And of course, web designer developers and screen reader users as well. And here is the planned contents of the series. First episode has been already released very recently. And we started with the definition of screen reader, what a screen reader is. And last 3 episodes will focus on how to use JAWS efficiently with video. And more, we worked on this kind of spreading and educating web accessibility in Japan. We feel that it's really important to becoming a kind of bridge to the world and Japan, from the world to Japan. So here we would like to share some activities we have done so far. So first thing to do this is participation in the WCC. It's a worldwide web consortium and established in 1994, and currently there are over 400 members, and they created web standards. And Mitsue-Links has participated in April 2004, and we're currently working with HTML working group and XHM2 working group. Unfortunately, we don't have enough resources to join the web accessibility initiative or way, but we contributed to the WCAG too. WCAG is, it's a guideline provided by WCC, and current state of the last core working draft of the WCAG 2, the version 2 of the Web Content Accessibility Guideline has been published in the December of 2007. And Mitsue-Links has commented to the draft for several times, for example, about validity and calculation of contrast. So we work hard to improve this guideline. And we also have a plan to spread the guideline in Japan and try to collaborate with some organizations or companies to harmonize this guideline to some of our clients or Japanese standards. And also, participation in CSUN conference is a really important activity to becoming a kind of bridge. We first attended in 2007, and we made a presentation at that time. Its title was Making Websites Accessible, and we focused on how to use web standards as a tool to improve web accessibility. And we also participated and sponsored this event as well in this year. So in future, at least next year, we hope to do the same thing for this, the world's most largest accessibility-related event. And here, I'd like to introduce ITRC and UAI. ITRC stands for Internet Technology Research Committee. It's an interesting committee. Whose object is to promote interaction between the wide range of fields in the internet industry and academia and different generations. And currently, there are 32 universities and 10 organizations and 28 companies, including Mitsue-Links, working with ITRC. And there is a subcommittee called UAI Research Group. It's focused on the elderly and handicapped internet users. Every month, UAI Research Group has a meeting to share some knowledge about research or papers and every kind of information about accessibility. And its activity, UAI's activity, have some very interesting and international projects like publishing a really nice book released in English-speaking world and localization of the software. So I would talk these two things. So first, about publication of a book. UAI published the Japanese version of a book titled Web Accessibility, Web Standards, and Regulatory Compliance. It's translated by UAI Research Group members. Also, Mitsue-Links has committed to the work, and it's released on October 25th last year. And it's not just the translation work. We provided some really original information like latest trends in web accessibility in Japan in the appendix. We also care about the information assurance. So we provided electronic text. It's really huge volume of pages, this book, but we provide electronic text version to the people who can't read the paper version. And lastly, I'd like to introduce the localizing the NVDA into Japanese. NVDA is non-visual desktop access, It's a free and open source-based screen reader for the Microsoft Windows operating system. It started from 1996 and currently available in more than 11 languages. But unfortunately, there are some difficulties to use this software in Japanese operating system. So UAI research group has studied the localizing this software. And the output is widely available in the NVIDIA JP website. And the localizing project is actually led by Katsutoshi here. So he will introduce some demonstration of the Japanese version of NVDA.
Currently, we are translating latest version of NVDA message, and so we can read, for instance, we can read the things like NVDA main window and setting dialogues. So you can try the English version of NVDA from NVDA website, but today I'd like to introduce Japanese version of NVDA with commercial speech synthesizer, which is from IBM, and it's called Protoka. I will start program here.
NVDA 起動しました。NVDA パネルエディット NVDA クイックスタートドキュメント
Okay, this is NVDA main window, and actually this is a bit older version of NVDA because latest version doesn't have a main window, but I'd like to show you the main window of NVDA, so I brought here bit old version. So some of you might think that translation is almost complete, but this is just beginning. We have some more things to work for Japanese version of NVDA. For instance, Japanese screen readers have to read when we are choosing kanji character from a list, but currently NVDA cannot read these choices, so we have to work to solve this problem. Also, we don't have free and open source speech synthesizer which speaks Japanese, so we have to find good quality and free and open source speech synthesizer for NVDA in Japan. We have a lot of things to do for Japanese version of NVDA, but we'd like to solve this problem and would like to provide this powerful screen reader in Japan. Thank you.
Let's wrap up today's presentation. So we have 2 points in the summary. So first, about equipping an access environment. As you have known, in English-speaking countries or areas, there are really nice softwares like JAWS and Windows Eyes. But in Japan, there are many kinds of screen readers or voice browsers, which are mostly low cost, and their functionality is not good or not so enough. But because of low price, there are so many users of them. And recently, many web designers or developers are aware of the importance of web accessibility and web standards. So content itself is now getting much better than the past. But how about assistive technologies like voice browsing softwares? Of course, they are getting better, but they seem not to be catch up the progress of web content like Ajax or something like that. So it's already not enough just to create web content accessible with web standards. So we started to work on to provide the access environment itself. Maybe it's out of the web design company's scope, but we felt the necessity to provide this kind of software, not just the contents. the more people use this kind of tool, and the more we create accessible content on the web can be much better. So we believe. And second thing is the concept of a hub for accessibility. This idea comes from Steve Jobs' speech in 2001, and when he explained the digital hub concept. In his concept, there are some small devices like a digital camera or a music player connected to a Macintosh computer, and they all work together. And to improve the web accessibility, probably you know, so many people need to work together for one purpose, to improve the web. So including web designers and developers, and user agent vendors, assistive technology vendors, and of course the users of such a user agent or assistive technologies, and also like a standard body like WCC, of course. Every kind of people, so many people need to work together. So we want to be a hub for this, to improve this kind of collaboration. That's the way of thinking about the hub for accessibility. And we really want to be becoming a hub, and we don't mind who think that we don't care much about the other people or other company, or think about different point of view or different way of thinking about web accessibility. But anyway, we want to work as a hub. So that's a strategy to improve the web accessibility of the Mitsue-Links. And thank you for listening, and we'll be happy to have your opinions or questions or any kind of feedback. Thank you. Yes?
Is there any work being done on assistive technologies and accessibility on cell phones, mobile phones in Japan?
Oh, it's a really tough question. I think the mobile development is a kind of very special situation in Japan. There's no global standards, and some carriers have original spec on the software or web contents implementation way. So it's really hard to say about the current state of web access or mobile accessibility. So I mean, the content itself is still there is no standard between different carriers or content providers. So in my humble opinion, it's really tough situation for mobiles in Japan. Hardware itself is much better than some carriers in America or European, maybe. I love iPhone anyway, but yeah, it's really far from our imagination of for the future there should be. So, are you a developer for mobile?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.